My family secretly put my name on $500,000 in debt while I was deployed overseas. So I came home, exposed them all, and now they're facing federal fraud charges. Please take a second to hit subscribe and tell us where you're joining from. I'm always touched by how connected this community feels. I was sitting in a dusty outpost in Afghanistan, counting down the days until I could hug my daughter again, when my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. Staff Sergeant Kira Monroe. That's me, 28 years old, on my second deployment, just trying to serve my country and provide for my baby girl Amari. My ex, Marcus, had her back home with my mama in Atlanta. I trusted them. God, I was such a fool. Ms. Monroe? This is David Smith from Wells Fargo Fraud Department. My heart dropped. We've been trying to reach you for 6 months. You're 90 days past due on multiple accounts totaling $487,000. The world tilted. That's impossible. I don't have those accounts. Ma'am, we have your signature, your social security number, everything. Credit cards, personal loans, a home equity line. I'm deployed overseas. I've been here 14 months. My voice cracked. Around me, soldiers glanced over. I walked outside into the blazing heat, hands shaking. Mr. Smith went silent. Where exactly are you stationed? Kandahar Province. A military. This is... Somebody stole my identity. Ms. Monroe, these applications came from your home address in Atlanta. Same address as your military records. Someone who had access to everything. Ice flooded my veins. My home address. Where Mama lived. Where Marcus stayed when he had Amari. Where my sister Tasha crashed between jobs. My family. My own damn family. I couldn't sleep that night. While my unit slept, I sat in the communications tent, waiting 2 hours for computer access. My fingers trembled as I logged into my bank accounts, my credit report, everything. What I found made bile rise in my throat. 17 credit cards. I'd left with 2. Personal loans from 5 different banks. A $70,000 car loan for a Range Rover I'd never seen. Someone had even refinanced Mama's house, the house my grandfather built, with me as the co-signer. All opened within 3 months of my deployment. I called Mr. Smith back immediately. I need every application, every piece of documentation. That'll take a few days, but Ms. Monroe, your credit score has dropped from 740 to 490. You're being sued by 3 creditors. There's a warrant for your arrest in Fulton County for fraud. A warrant. For my arrest. I'd been serving my country while someone back home destroyed my entire life. My hands clenched into fists. Email everything. Tonight. Then I did something I'd been avoiding. I called Mama's house. She answered on the first ring, voice sugary sweet. Baby girl. We miss you so much. When you coming home? Mama. My voice was ice. I just got a call about $500,000 in debt in my name. Silence. Too long. Too calculated. Now baby, I can explain. Did you do this? I demanded. Kira, you don't understand the pressure we've been under. Your sister needed, Marcus said. I hung up. My own mother. My own goddamn mother had destroyed me. The emails came through at 0300 hours. I opened them with Staff Sergeant Wilson beside me. He was Finance Corps before infantry, and I needed someone who understood what I was looking at. His face grew darker with each document. Kira, these signatures are decent forgeries, but look here. He pointed. Your real signature has that distinctive loop on the K. These don't. And this address verification. It's a utility bill in your name, but the usage patterns. He pulled up my actual utility history. You average $90 a month. This shows $400. Someone was living large in that house. We went through everything. Whoever did this had been meticulous but greedy. The Range Rover was registered to Marcus. 3 of the credit cards had statements showing purchases at Lenox Square, Phipps Plaza, expensive Atlanta malls, designer bags, jewelry, men's clothes. Here's the smoking gun, Wilson said, pulling up the home equity line. It was approved based on employment verification from Monroe Family Enterprises. That's not a real company. No, I said slowly, but my sister Tasha told me last year she was starting a consulting business. Said she'd use my address for the LLC registration since she moved around so much. Wilson whistled low. She created a fake company to verify income for fraudulent loans. That's organized fraud. Federal charges territory. My phone buzzed. Marcus. I declined it. He called again. And again. Finally I answered. Kira, baby, let me explain. You're driving a car I'm paying for, aren't you? His silence confirmed everything. It wasn't supposed to go this far, Marcus said, his voice pleading. Your mama said you had great credit, that we'd pay it back before you came home. It started with just 1 card for Amari's school supplies. Amari's school supplies? I was screaming now, not caring who heard. My 6-year-old daughter needed a $70,000 Range Rover for school supplies? That was Tasha. She said she needed transportation for her business meetings, that she'd make enough to pay everything back. Where's my daughter, Marcus? She's asleep. Has she been eating? Going to school? Or were you too busy shopping with MY credit cards? Baby, I love you. We can fix this. Put my mother on the phone. Now. Rustling sounds, hushed urgent whispers. Then Mama's voice, defiant now. Kira, you got to understand. We're family. Family helps each other. Family doesn't commit identity theft. Family doesn't forge signatures and steal $500,000. You were overseas living for free. We were struggling. Your sister finally had a chance to build something, and Marcus needed reliable transportation for taking Amari to activities. My baby doesn't have activities. She's 6. You stole my future so Tasha could play businesswoman and Marcus could stunt in a Range Rover. Mama's voice turned cold, calculated. And who you think gonna believe you? You're stressed from war. PD makes soldiers confused about finances all the time. I hung up, shaking with rage. She'd already planned her defense. They'd thought this through. Wilson put a hand on my shoulder. Document everything. Record every call from now on. I contacted JAG, the Judge Advocate General's office, the next morning. Captain Rachel Robinson was a Nigerian-American lawyer with a reputation for being ruthless. She listened to my story without interrupting, her expression growing harder. This is clear-cut identity theft and fraud, she said. But Kira, I'll be honest, prosecuting family is complicated. They'll play the sympathy card. You'll be painted as the ungrateful daughter. I don't care. I want them charged. Good. She smiled sharply. Because I hate thieves, and I especially hate thieves who target deployed service members. There's a federal law, the Service Members Civil Relief Act. What they did carries enhanced penalties. And if they used mail or wire transfers for any of this, that's wire fraud. Federal charges. He had me write everything down. Every conversation, every date I remembered, every detail. Then she made calls. Within hours, I was on the phone with Special Agent Jennifer Walsh from the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. Ms. Monroe, we've been tracking a fraud ring in Atlanta that targets deployed service members, Agent Walsh said. Your case might be connected. Can you tell me if anyone outside your immediate family knew about the accounts? What do you mean, a ring? We've had 15 cases in 18 months. All deployed military, all family members with access to their information. Someone's been teaching people how to do this. My blood ran cold. My sister Tasha. She's been working with a business consultant named Dre. She mentioned him a few times, said he was teaching her how to build credit and scale up. Dre what? I don't know his last name. I'll find him. 3 days later, Agent Walsh called back. Kira, sit down for this. Dre is Andre Maxwell Thompson, and he's been running financial fraud workshops in Atlanta for 2 years. Your sister paid him $3,000, using one of your credit cards, for a credit maximization masterclass. He teaches people how to access family members' credit, forge documents, create shell companies. I felt sick. Tasha paid for fraud lessons with my stolen money? It gets worse. We pulled phone records. Your sister made 47 calls to Thompson during your deployment. Your ex Marcus made 19. But here's the kicker. Your mother made 63 calls to a number registered to Thompson's girlfriend. Mama had been in on it from the beginning. This wasn't desperation. This was calculated, organized, premeditated theft. We're building a RICO case, Walsh continued. Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Thompson's been coaching at least 30 people. Your family isn't just guilty of stealing from you, they're part of a criminal enterprise. I thought of Amari. My baby girl living in a house full of criminals. Can I get custody of my daughter? We're working with Georgia DFCS. Given that both custodial parents are under investigation for federal crimes, you'll likely get emergency custody. But Kira, you need to come home. Your command is working on emergency leave. How soon? 72 hours. Pack your things. We're going to dismantle this entire operation and you're going to get your life back. For the first time in days, I felt something other than rage. I felt hope. The flight from Kandahar to Atlanta took 36 hours with layovers. I didn't sleep. I stared at my phone at the picture of Amari on her first day of kindergarten, her gap-toothed smile, her hair in the 2 puffs I'd braided before I left. 15 months she'd been living with thieves and liars. Agent Walsh met me at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport with 2 other agents. We're executing search warrants simultaneously at all 3 residences in 90 minutes. You'll go to your mother's house with us. Marcus is staying at an apartment in College Park. We'll hit that at the same time. Tasha's at a condo in Buckhead. Buckhead. I repeated. My sister's in Buckhead? 2-bedroom condo, $2,300 a month. Paid with a credit card in your name. The rage returned white hot. My sister was living in luxury while I slept on a cot in the desert. We pulled up to Mama's house at 1,400 hours. The house looked the same, neat lawn, Grandpa's rose bushes, the porch swing where he'd taught me to read. A Range Rover sat in the driveway, gleaming black with chrome wheels. I walked up to it, ran my hand along the hood. $70,000 of MY debt. Agent Walsh knocked. Mama opened the door, saw me, and her face went through shock, fear, then defiance. Baby, you're home. Federal agents, ma'am. We have a warrant to search these premises. Walsh held up the paperwork. Behind Mama, I saw Amari running. Mommy! He crashed into my legs, sobbing. She'd grown so much. I dropped to my knees, holding her, breathing her in. I missed you, baby. Mama's here now. Kira, you're making a mistake, Mama hissed as agents flooded past her. I stood, Amari on my hip. No, Mama. You made the mistake. They found everything. Boxes of credit card statements in the basement. Receipts for jewelry, designer clothes, expensive dinners. All charged to accounts in my name. They found the forged power of attorney documents in Mama's bedroom drawer, alongside a notebook detailing which cards to use for what purchases to stay under the radar. Agent Walsh held up a handwritten note in Mama's distinctive script. Kay won't check accounts overseas. Max out Amex before she's back June 2024. My deployment was supposed to end in June. They'd been planning to max out everything and disappear before I came home. Ma'am, you need to step outside, an agent told Mama. This is my house. No ma'am, I said coldly. According to the mortgage documents, it's my house now. You refinanced it in my name, remember? Her face went pale. She hadn't thought about that consequence. They found more at Marcus's apartment. The Range Rover keys, registration in his name but the loan in mine. 3 more credit cards, a laptop with emails to Tasha coordinating which accounts to use when. And they found text messages, hundreds of them. Marcus to Tasha, your sister's a sucker. She'll never check from Afghanistan. Tasha to Marcus, Dre said we can get another $50,000 if we use her VA benefits info. Mama to both, don't tell her anything when she calls. Act normal. We'll figure out the payback story later. There was no plan to pay me back. There never had been. At Tasha's Buckhead condo, they found the designer life she'd built on my destruction. Gucci bags, Christian Louboutin shoes. A closet that looked like Saks Fifth Avenue. Agent Walsh called me. Kira, your sister has $87,000 in clothes and accessories. All purchased in the last 14 months. They were arrested simultaneously. Mama at her house, Marcus at his apartment, Tasha at a spa in Buckhead where she was getting a $200 facial. On my credit card. I went to the FBI field office with Amari. They set us up in a family room while they processed my family in separate interrogation rooms. Agent Walsh showed me the live feeds. Mama went with righteous indignation. My daughter is mentally unstable from the war. She doesn't know what she's saying. This is a misunderstanding. Marcus tried charm. Look man, this is just a family dispute. We can work this out privately. Tasha played victim. I didn't know it was illegal. Dre said it was just credit optimization. We're family, we share resources. Then Agent Walsh walked into Mama's interrogation with the notebook. Mrs. Monroe, can you explain this note? Kay won't check accounts overseas. Max out Amex before she's back June 2024? Mama's face crumbled. I want a lawyer. They all lawyered up within the hour. But it didn't matter. The evidence was overwhelming. Agent Walsh sat across from me, coffee in hand. Kira, here's where we are. We're charging all 3 with identity theft, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Because you were deployed, we're adding charges under the Servicemembers Civil Relief Act. That's up to 5 years per count. Andre Thompson is being charged with racketeering. We've identified 32 victims and the total fraud is over $14 million. $14 million? Your case was actually one of the smaller ones. He taught people how to steal from deployed family members because they couldn't check their credit. It's evil genius. What about Amari? Emergency custody granted. You're her sole guardian, effective immediately. I looked at my daughter, coloring in the corner, oblivious. She was safe. Finally. The story broke 3 days later. Local woman returns from Afghanistan to find family stole $500,000, part of massive fraud ring targeting deployed troops. It went viral immediately. My phone exploded. News requests, interview offers, messages from other soldiers saying, "This happened to me too." The story was everywhere. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, every local station. I became the face of military family fraud. I agreed to one interview with Andrea Wells from WSB-TV Atlanta. She met me at a coffee shop in Decatur, cameras rolling. Kira, tell us how you found out. I told the story start to finish. Andrea's eyes watered. What was the hardest part? Realizing my own mother looked at my deployment as an opportunity. That she saw my service as her payday. I was dodging mortars and she was shopping at Neiman Marcus. The interview aired that night. The response was immediate and overwhelming. A GoFundMe appeared. I didn't start it, raising money to help with legal fees. It hit $100,000 in 2 days. Veterans groups offered support. Lawyers offered pro bono representation. But then came the backlash. Mama's church rallied around her. Pastor Reynolds gave a sermon about forgiveness and family loyalty. This young woman is tearing her family apart over material possessions. Where is her Christian forgiveness? I went to that church the next Sunday. Walked right in during service, Amari beside me. Pastor Reynolds stopped mid-sentence. Pastor Reynolds, I said, my voice carrying through the sanctuary. My mother stole $500,000 from me while I was serving our country. She forged my signature, destroyed my credit, and planned to blame it on PTSD when I came home. That's not a family dispute. That's a federal crime. The preliminary hearing was set for November. I sat in the front row, Agent Walsh beside me, watching my family in orange jumpsuits. The prosecution laid out the case. Document after document, email after email, text message after text message. The defense tried everything. Family hardship, mental health struggles, misunderstandings about credit sharing. None of it mattered. The evidence was ironclad. Then it was my turn to speak. I stood, walked to the witness stand, placed my hand on the Bible. I looked at Mama, at Tasha, at Marcus. I trusted you with everything, I said, my voice steady. I left my daughter, my home, my life in your hands while I served this country. And you saw that trust as weakness. You saw my sacrifice as your opportunity. Mama started crying. Baby, I'm sorry. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. You had 6 months of phone calls to tell me the truth. You chose to lie every single time. The judge interrupted. Ms. Monroe, thank you. I've heard enough. He turned to my family. In 30 years on the bench, I've never seen such calculated betrayal. You didn't just commit fraud. You targeted a deployed service member who trusted you with her child. This court finds probable cause for all charges. Trial is set for March. Bail was denied. They tried to flee. Agents found one-way tickets to Mexico on Marcus's phone. They'd planned to disappear with my money and my daughter. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Kira, how do you feel? I feel like justice is finally happening, I said. And I want every deployed service member to know. Check your credit. Don't assume your family won't betray you. I did, and it destroyed my life. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Andre Thompson took a plea deal, 20 years in exchange for testimony against his students. He sat on the stand, cocky in his orange jumpsuit, and explained his operation. I taught them how to access credit reports, forge signatures, create fake employment verification. The deployed military angle was genius. They can't check their accounts easily, and they usually have good credit. We called them golden geese. My family, my own family, had called me a golden goose. Thompson detailed everything. Mama paid him $5,000 for advanced techniques. Tasha had been his star student, recruiting 2 other people, her boyfriend and a cousin I barely knew. Marcus had been the muscle, handling logistics and money transfers. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty. On all counts. All 3 of them. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Judge Morrison didn't hold back. Mrs. Monroe, you received 7 years federal prison. Tasha Monroe, 8 years. Marcus Green, 6 years. Additionally, you will pay full restitution, $487,293, plus interest and penalties. Your assets will be seized and liquidated. They took everything. The Range Rover, Tasha's designer wardrobe, jewelry, furniture. All auctioned. It didn't cover the full debt, but it was a start. My tax returns would be garnished for years. My credit would take a decade to rebuild. But I won. I got my daughter. I got justice. And I got my voice back. 6 months later, I'm living in a small apartment in Marietta. Amari's in therapy processing everything. She has nightmares sometimes, asks why grandma did bad things. I tell her the truth, age-appropriate but honest. Sometimes people make very bad choices, baby. Even people we love. And when they do, there have to be consequences. The GoFundMe money helped. I put most of it in a college fund for Amari. She'll have opportunities one never did. I'm back on base, promoted to sergeant first class. My credit score is climbing slowly. I'll never deploy again. I requested stateside duty only and they granted it. I learned my lesson about trust. Agent Walsh calls sometimes, updating me on other cases. Thompson's fraud ring led to 63 arrests across 5 states. Hundreds of victims found justice because I refused to stay quiet. I sleep better now. The rage has faded, replaced by something stronger. Boundaries. I know who I am. I know what I deserve. And I know I'll never let anyone steal from me again. Mama writes from prison. Letters full of apologies and Bible verses, begging for forgiveness, for visits, for money on her commissary account. I send them back unopened. Maybe someday I'll be ready. Maybe not. Either way is okay. Amari asks, Mommy, are we safe now? I pull her close, kiss her forehead. Yes, baby. We're safe. And we're free. And we are. Free from toxicity, from manipulation, from family members who saw my love as a weakness to exploit. I built my life once. I'll build it again. But this time I'm building it with people who deserve to be there. The story went viral, yes. But more importantly, it sparked change. The military now does mandatory credit monitoring for deployed troops. They created a fraud task force. They're protecting the next generation of soldiers from what happened to me. I didn't just get justice. I created it for thousands of others. And that, more than any amount of money, is worth everything.